Welcome back to the FastAPI Beginners Guide, Lesson 5, where we finally close the loop on CRUD. The first 4 lessons taught your API to read. Today, it learns to write. We'll wire up post, put, patch, and delete the right way, with proper status codes, Pydantic models on the way in, and typed exceptions when things go wrong. By the end, you'll have every endpoint a real service actually needs. Here's the map for the next 30 minutes. 4 mental models, 1 complete picture. First, post for creation, a Pydantic body in, a 201, and the saved entity out, and the understanding that posting twice creates 2 records. Then, put versus patch, full replacement against partial update, with idempotency as the deciding factor. Delete comes next, where 204. No content is the clean default, and deleting twice is still safe. And finally, HTTPException, the FastAPI native way to fail loudly without wrapping everything in try-catch. Let's start with creation. The pattern has 3 moving parts: a Pydantic model as the type hint binds and validates the incoming JSON, status code 201, tells clients and caches that a new resource exists, and response model item. Read filters what goes back out. Notice the asymmetry. Item create accepts only name and price, while item read exposes ID and created at. The server owns those fields. The client never sets them, which buys you both security and consistency for free. Now for updates, where HTTP gives you 2 verbs with very different contracts. Put is a full replace. The body becomes the new state, which is why it accepts item create and why it's idempotent. Patch is partial. Item update from lesson 3 made every field optional, and the magic line is model dump with exclude, unset, true. That gives you only what the client actually sent, so you merge instead of overwrite. Delete closes out CRUD, and you've got 2 reasonable shapes. Pattern A returns 204. No content. Strict rest. No body. The function literally returns none. Pattern B returns 200 with the deleted entity, which is handy when the front end wants to offer undo or log an audit trail. Pick one and stay consistent. And remember, delete is idempotent, so calling it twice lands you in the same end state. The second call just hits your 404 guard. That 404 guard? Here's how you actually write it. Don't return a custom error dict, raise HTTPException, and FastAPI serializes it to a clean JSON detail with the right status code. These are the 4 you'll reach for daily. 404 when something's missing, 409 on conflicts like duplicate emails, 403 when the user is authenticated but not authorized, and 400 for semantic errors Pydantic can't catch. Pydantic owns 422 for type and format issues. HTTPException owns your business rules. With errors handled, step back and look at the whole shape. Every resource API you'll ever build collapses into these 5 endpoints: list, read one, create, update, delete. Same verbs, same status codes, same response model pattern, only the resource name changes. Post returns 201 with the created object. Patch uses exclude at unset, so partial updates stay partial. And delete returns 204 with no body. Memorize this skeleton. You'll type it for items today, users tomorrow, orders next week. Now zoom in on the 6 reflexes that separate hobby code from production. 201 on post tells caches and clients something new exists, and CDNs treat it differently than 200. Exclude, unset, on patch, preserves partial intent. Response model is your output firewall, keeping passwords and internal flags out of the wire. Raise HTTPException instead of returning error dicts. Keep put idempotent, same body, same end state, no matter how many retries hit it. And when you say 204, send no body. Each one is a single line of code that earns its keep the moment real traffic arrives. Pin this one. 12 patterns covering every right endpoint you'll touch, the 4 verbs with their canonical status codes, the response model filter, the 4 exceptions that handle 404, 409, 403, and 400, plus exclude unset for patch, and the named status constants for readability. If you only remember one slide from this lesson, make it this one. Everything else is just commentary on these 12 lines. Now the failure modes. 5 mistakes that ship every week, often invisible until traffic hits. Returning the raw DB row leaks hashed passwords. Posts without idempotency keys double-charge users on a flaky network. Patch without exclude, unset silently nulls columns. Try-catch around the save returns 200 on failure, and forgetting status code 201 breaks SDK generators downstream, subtle, semantic, and entirely preventable. Time to build it yourself. 3 exercises that close the CRUD loop. First, post with status 201 and a response model, the senior signature for any create endpoint. Second, patch using exclude unset to true, so partial updates stay partial instead of silently overwriting with defaults. Third, delete returning 204 with an empty body and a clean 404 via HTTPException when the ID is missing. Finish these and your items API is complete, type safe, status correct, and error handled end to end. And that's lesson 5 in the books. CRUD is complete. Post with 201, put versus patch, delete with 204, and HTTPException for the failure paths. Next up, response models as your security boundary, plus status codes, headers, and streaming done right. Lesson 6, daily cadence. See you there.